Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Yoders Farm. I'm Eldon and Lowell is here with me again today. We're going to talk over the last couple of weeks and what's going on here at the farm. Welcome to the podcast, Lowell.
Thanks, Eldon. It's really good to be here. Be here in the secret bunker again.
There you go, making it all weird again. I don't know what I'm supposed to do different. I've tried 4 different things and you laughed at me every time.
Just do it like normal.
Well, I don't know what normal is anymore. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Yoders Farm. I'm Eldon and I'm joined today, like normal, by my brother Lowell. And we're going to talk about what's been going on here at the farm the last couple of weeks and some other things maybe. So, Lowell, take it away. I think you had some ideas.
Yeah, well, I guess we should talk about our obligatory give our obligatory weather report. It's been chilly the last while. Seems like we moved kind of directly from late fall into almost winter, like temperatures anyway. So it was okay. I don't think it did any harm, but it's obvious the growing season has come to an end. There were heavy frosts and well below freezing temperatures, and so yeah, I guess it's still technically late fall, but we're kind of into winter mode.
Yeah,
already. That means lots of firewood. Keep our boilers boiling to keep our greenhouses heated and warm. Where we have tomatoes, and obviously the growing season outside, like I said, is done pretty much. We had, before I was away for a week or so, and before I left, which had been the very end of October or the 1st of November, we pulled some row covers on some of the strawberries. These are just the couple of the varieties that are a little more cold sensitive. But actually, the primary reason we pulled the covers on was to prevent the deer from eating the berries.
Mowing them off, yes.
Yeah, so if you pull a row cover on, they can't get down through the row cover, and it's a very effective way to stop the deer from eating the berries. So
yeah,
at least as a short-term measure till we figure out something else, or their feeding patterns change, or anyway, they switch food sources. So
yeah.
That's what we did. But I was glad while we were away, we had some frigid temperatures, and was glad to have those covers on to help us out.
That's kind of at the bottom end of the patch where it's a little lower. Maybe temps can get a little cooler
it's
quicker.
Just primarily those varieties are a little more sensitive to cold. So I was hoping for an opportunity to cause them to grow a little bit more this fall yet, but then I actually pulled a bunch of the covers off. Now the temperatures have moderated a little bit. They're more just seasonal temperatures, and we'll go on and get some frost on those plants and harden them off and get them prepared for winter now that we had an additional couple weeks of growing.
Sounds normal, I guess. The middle of November. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, so other than that, like I said, tomatoes are growing. We're picking some tomatoes already, so that's a good thing. Running into a few challenges with our one greenhouse, especially with our greenhouse truss tomatoes. So one of the things I thought we could talk about, they just aren't growing like they should. Seems to be maybe a fertilizer issue. So today we took a leaf sample. We don't take leaf samples as frequently in the greenhouse tomatoes as we do, say, in the spring with strawberries. I think we talked about that before.
I think we did, yeah.
But if the plants aren't looking normal, and if they seem to have some problems, then it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So we did that. Took say a dozen, 15 leaves off
just
plants.
from separate plants throughout the greenhouse.
Kind of a selection throughout the house and sent those off, and we'll get an analysis back on testing the nutrient ranges in those leaves, and then from that hopefully we'll be able to figure out if it's something that we're feeding them that they don't like, or if it's just sometimes you get a lot of tomatoes on a tomato plant and it kind of stresses the plants, or maybe a combination of all of those.
Or it might just be the moon phase. No, that's probably not the case.
No, probably not. Occasionally long periods of dark, cloudy weather can affect tomatoes, especially in the wintertime, because we're dealing with shorter and shorter days. But we're still kind of early winter, and we haven't had a lot of really cloudy weather. So anyway, that's one of the things we did today was send that off. So that'll be interesting.
Good to know y'all were busy while I was at work today.
Yeah, and a way that you can, I guess, use science and
it's a good
farming.
Good tool for knowing where you're at.
Another thing we did was I have a few strawberry plants, especially in this one small field. Actually, the field we just talked about where I have row covers. I've been seeing for the last number of weeks or a month or so, have a few plants, especially on the ends of the rows that were dying. And usually you don't really have to worry about disease at this time of the year, but this was something that had happened earlier in the fall. And so I want to figure out exactly what it is. I have an idea what it is. I think it's a fairly common strawberry disease that we deal with most every fall, at least in a smattering of plants. But so anyway, have a few plants, very small portion, but noticed a few problems. So I picked out the problem plants and went over and talked to my county agent about that. And our county agent's nice guy, helpful guy. He's not as in the loop on strawberry production. He does. We're the only strawberry farm in the county, but he's at least a good resource, and he can send these plants off to a plant diagnostic clinic up at Virginia Tech, and hopefully they'll be able to figure out exactly what's going on. They'll test the plants and look at them and do all sorts of cool things with them, and hopefully get back with me and tell me exactly what it is. This will give me, something to think about in the spring. Maybe a treatment we can do, or at least something to keep in mind.
So if it is what you're thinking it is, it probably won't die off over the winter or whatever. It would affect them next spring as well. Is that the case?
It depends exactly what it is. Yeah, we'll just have to see. But anyway, it's usually better to figure out what you're dealing with than just blindly guessing or something. Anyway, so another example of using the tools at our disposal to try to figure out a problem that we're dealing with.
It's the age-old thing of trying to farm smarter instead of harder, I guess.
I guess so. And then while I was over there, I picked up a bunch of soil sample boxes, and it's also the time of the year that we start thinking about that. These are for mainly our big crop fields. Okay. But I should take a few from the strawberry field as well. So we'll take. You actually use a probe, which is hollow, and you dig it down into the dirt about 8 or 10 inches and get a core of soil and get a representative, numerous samples throughout a field, mix it up, send it off in a little box, and they give you again, up at Tech, there's a lab, and they give you a report back on the nutrient levels in your soil. And then we have we're planning to spread fertilizer and some soil amendments on our cropland this winter, actually over the next few weeks, and this gives us a
better idea of what you need to be adding.
More accurate idea of how much to spread. So, we're quite interested to take a couple samples from the corn maze field as well, which I guess we should mention that got harvested.
Did get harvested, sure enough.
It's currently up the silo in a silage form, which is basically just a finely chopped animal feed. It goes through just a bit of a fermentation process that helps it to keep And we're already starting to feed it to our cows, so they appreciate it, and so it's
Well, that's nice of them to appreciate it.
a good way to
Yeah.
recycle, I guess, is a way.
It's a multi-use for
Yeah.
field
Served as a
stuff.
corn maze, and now it's going to keep our cows happy through the winter. So, but anyway, I was starting to say so we're always quite concerned about having a good growth on our corn maze. So, one of the ways we can help that is by taking a soil sample out there and figuring out exactly where our nutrient levels are. And we're going to add a lot of fertilizer to it this winter and hopefully grow a really nice maize again next year.
Sounds like a plan to me. Speaking of maize, we're kind of in the cleanup mode, I guess. The tent came down last week. Been putting stuff away. Always takes a couple of weeks to...
Yeah, I guess it takes us a couple of weeks
down.
to get everything set up, or half the season to get everything set up.
Yeah.
And try to take good care of everything, get it tucked back away.
It's kind of when the season ends, it's a weight off of our shoulders, and we don't tend to push maybe as hard as we do for the last 6 weeks, but that's fine. That's just part of it.
And a few of the leftover pumpkins have found new homes in...
Well,
that sounds kind of awkward, but anyways, I was going to say, a few people who raise pigs came by and grabbed some of the leftover pumpkins, and they're planning to feed them. So I guess that's a temporary new home for the pumpkins.
Yeah,
Until they get eaten. So
we're
pretty much cleaned out of pumpkins by now. So
very good.
Time to start cleaning those fields up as well and get ready for another growing season.
Always something to do.
Well, it seems like wintertime, I don't know, it's a good time to plan and think about next year, and we'll probably talk about that some more over the next few months. But if you make good use of this time when maybe not quite as much is actively happening outside, it sure makes things run a whole lot better when you're really, really busy in the spring and fall.
Yeah. Yep. Makes those 6 weeks. Basically you're investing now for those 6 to 8 weeks for strawberries, I guess. So.
Yeah, and one final thing before we wrap up, winter is a time for meetings, like farm type meetings, educational meetings, so forth. Virginia Strawberry Association puts on they call it a post-plant strawberry field walk, and that is, they hold it a couple of places around the state, but the closest one to me, I'll be attending that on Wednesday, and it's just a nice opportunity. There's some local extension experts there, or not local, actually more on a state level.
Yeah. So
they'll be there, and we'll look at someone's strawberry field up in Nelson County, I believe. Anyway, I'm not sure whose field. Actually, it's Carter Parr's field up in Siemens Orchard.
Very good.
And we'll look at strawberries and visit with other growers and hopefully learn a few more things and maybe any issues that are particularly of concern this fall.
Sure. Sounds
plan
good.
To do that Wednesday.
Yeah, and there's usually another one or two in the early part of next year that...
Yeah, but it's the season for meetings.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wintertime, there's a pumpkin meeting and other meetings. So
Speaking of which, we should probably have a meeting amongst ourselves to talk about some things from the fall season and such like that. But
probably so. As a staff.
As a staff. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. I'm ready for supper.
Sounds good. I think there's a birthday party downstairs that we're supposed to head down and attend. So thank you all for listening. If you're interested in other episodes, head over to yodersfarm.com/podcast, or just search for Conversations with Yoders Farm in your favorite podcast app. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
And happy birthday to Gary.
There you go.